Hello and welcome to another lunchtime session with Plannex. My name is Rohan Sivajoti. I'm the co-founder here, and I'd love to take you through a little presentation today just around how to turn your firm into a talent magnet. The thoughts today are very much my own. I am no expert in this area. I've run firms and hired people and all this kind of thing. This is my kind of take on it. The things that I think work quite well, the stuff that when I've been working with firms has worked really, really well for them too. Just thought I'd share a little bit of it with you so that you've got some more things to help out with, because recruitment's tough, right? It's really hard. So without further ado, I will jump in. Apologies for my kids' scribbles behind me. It kind of looks like some kind of semi-intelligent, they've worked out a formula to life or whatever it is, but it's absolutely not. Let's see if we can share my screen. Amazing. I'm hoping that you can all see my screen okay. Wicked. Cool. Okay, I'll have to get this way. So there's a few things I just need to set the scene for first right now. So the way this presentation will go is I'll set the scene, we'll talk about some of the issues, some of the problems, some of the challenges, and then we'll come into some of the solutions towards the end and what I think works well and what may help out in your situation. This is relevant for if you've got a firm at any kind of stage as well. So if it's perhaps you're making your first hires, if you haven't hired in years, if you're a small firm, if you're that growing firm and the service is under strain and all that kind of thing, but also if you're one of those firms that is paying these one-off invoices to recruiters and the like, and a frequent hirer, I would say in my experience of this, personally, you probably get around about, I think if you get more than 50% of your hires right and perfect, you've done really, really well. I always think with some of this, it's a bit of the nature of the game, and it's just appreciating that you aren't always going to get it right. It's just not always going to happen that way. It is, it's life. It's very, very difficult, I think, sometimes to just get everything perfect. It just doesn't happen that way. So the first thing I would always say is just don't beat yourself up over this stuff. You will get it wrong. I guarantee you will get it wrong. I don't think it's a hiring problem either sometimes. I think it is a bit of a pipeline problem and people perhaps not seeing enough into the future in terms of when to hire and that kind of thing. We can talk around some of that stuff today as well, and making sure that effectively you're not panic hiring. So you're not getting to a point where the firm is at a place where it desperately needs the body, but then the body has to come in and get trained up and all that kind of thing. And it's kind of this thing about planning ahead, knowing when to hire, and I could talk through some of my stuff around that as well. Just very, very quickly, look, I've launched, scaled, sold an IFA practice. I've helped over 200 firms now in the past 3 years launch, so go from nothing through to 12, 18 months in. Touch wood, none of those firms have gone to the wall yet, which is quite nice. And I like cricket too much. You can tell I didn't make these slides, right? They look amazing. So what firms are up against? So just setting the scene here, there is, that big advisor shortage out there, which we know about. There's a shortage of advisors within the profession, and I think a shortage of quality as well. There is obviously the cost to training people. If you want to take someone from scratch, you want to train them up, there's a fair commitment there. There is always that salary pressure. There are other sectors like fintech and the like that do pay quite heavily, do pay that little bit more, asset management, things like that. So you do have that kind of salary pressure there that, as a small firm especially, is very, very tough to come up against. And also losing qualifieds, like, if you train somebody up and they leave, and you lose them and you invest that time and that cost and everything else in them. So these are the kind of things that I think, comes to fruition quite a lot from the conversations that I have with people. There isn't enough coming through, as we know. It is an aging profession. What's that average age figure floats around a bit, doesn't it? But I think it's like 57, 58, something in that region now, in terms of advisors. There is a fairly thin graduate pipeline because of that career invisibility, and there's always more we can do as a profession, as a sector, to increase visibility within financial planning, and what a wonderful career it is. The way I always talk about it to people is it has those three things. It has the flexibility once you get to a certain level to be able to, fit it around your life, your diary, your school runs, all those kind of things. It does pay very well, but also it's just incredibly rewarding work. It's work where you're getting to help people day by day retire, live out their dreams, pass things to their kids, etc. And those three things together, it's a career really that I think is just completely fabulous. Like I said before, it's expensive. You've got the years of exams, supervision burden, all that kind of thing as well. And there is that perception problem too, that it's, compliance heavy. There's some old fashioned around it. If you ask somebody, what do you think a financial advisor looks like? I'm guessing they're going to say, suit and tie and all that kind of thing. And there is that perception still there. And quite an interesting one is an unclear career progression, because, we talk about financial planning as a profession, and we talk about things like accountancy and law alongside that, and them being sort of, I guess, professions on that same sort of level. But they tend to have quite clear progression routes, and you kind of know that when you go in at one place, you're going to end up at another place and within that career. And I'd like to see, and we'll go through this in this presentation, more people looking to that kind of method to look at full career progressions. As I said before, fintech does pay more. Margins are tight. It's not all about money with people. It's not all about salary. You need to outdevelop. It's not about outpaying. And there are some ways in which we can do that. There is also a bit of a problem of people coming into your business and then just staying put, stagnating, not developing. And that's because perhaps the pathways aren't in place. And they're kind of just sat there waiting to be poached, to be honest. And that those next steps in their career and for you are very, very unclear. So we'll talk about making some of those clearer. But the quieter question in all this, and I see this a lot from firms in terms of that thing I said earlier, where perhaps people are getting 50% of hires wrong. Is it us? The old giffer. Are we the baddies? And what I hope this is going to help you move towards when we go through some of these slides is kind of taking that away, and we're going to try and take that element out of the is it us, so that you're doing everything you possibly can within your power to create a firm that is a talent magnet and that people come to you and come to work for you. And we can kind of stop that rhetoric, because there are people, and it is a quieter question, but then after multiple failures, it becomes a question out loud when I talk to people or coaching or whatever else of the is it us. And there's ways we can avoid that. So let's go through those. So what firms actually want, these are the things that you want, obviously. You don't want that bottleneck, no drama firm. Oh my God, I cannot stress the importance of that. And that you want those cool waves, right? Just like no drama, no tsunamis, anything like that. You want to be proud of what you do. You want to hire from a position of strength always, like I said earlier, not those panic hires. You want to have a great reputation as being a brilliant employer. And that obviously helps attract the best talent and also incredibly motivated people. So the 5 mistakes, first of all, that cost firms the best people, before we go into 4 pillars around how we rebuild this, is hiring as an event. So again, it's just like something comes up and you go, doof, we've got to hire, go. Some salary first thinking, again, going out and benchmarking against all of the competition and thinking, right, well, what if we pay a bit more? We're going to get the best people or whatever else. And it's not about that. It's thinking about some of the other stuff around hiring, what's important to people. Number 3 being an assumed attractiveness. So you thinking that your firm are amazing, a great firm, somewhere where people want to come and work. But, hand on heart, can you say, is that the reality? Are you doing everything you possibly can to attract the best talent? There is an element as well of outsourced thinking in some of this stuff, people copying others, all that kind of thing. It doesn't need to be that way. Like, go your own way, go your own path, do what feels right for you too. And treating it as a pure recruitment event as opposed to a proposition. So just the recruitment, the right person for day one, as opposed to an ongoing proposition. Because effectively, when you bring somebody in, that's what it's about. It's not about the right person for the right moment at that time. It's about the next 5 years, 10 years, etc. So thinking a little bit longer term and thinking of it as a proposition as opposed to just on the day. So what if it wasn't reactive like that? And I want to talk through here 4 stepping stones to get your firm to a place where talent chooses you. So we'll talk about development pathways, culture and environment, proposition clarity, and the access and reputation. So the first of the 4 pillars, development pathway. So what will I become if I work here? And I always want you to think of that question, I think, front and center of everything. So it's something that we do very, very clearly with our candidates at Plannex. But it's that whole thing of, again, you're not recruiting for this role for day one, for somebody to come in and do that job. And yes, you got to show them where they're going to get to. What will they become? Like, show the progression steps, show the year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, etc. And what do they need to do to get there? So we talk about on there, like the training baked in. So i.e. in year 2, I need to get here to do that. This is the kind of training you're going to have to do. Etc. Like, show people the vision, show, like, much like you would sit there with a client and show them the vision of their financial plan. And if we do this by this year, you should get to there. Here's what we're going to do in these years, etc. It's the same with staff. It's not about the here and now. It's about the what it's going to look like in the future. And I just cannot stress that enough in terms of this is what helps get that buy-in, gives people security that they're with an employer that, you know, cares for them, looks out for them, is going to invest in them. You make these promises to them and you deliver on those promises. But you also kind of tailor it to different levels of ambition. We will always, you'll always have people in business. Let's say, for example, you're hiring like a trainee financial planner or something. You'll get various degrees of confidence in that. You'll want people who want to fly through it. You'll have people who want to go that little bit slower, etc. So you can tailor to that different level of ambition within those plans, and you can have sort of step off points and all that kind of thing. But just by creating this pathway and showing people that this is what they're going to become, this is the way to do it, give them that clarity, much like you would when you sat in front of a client, is such a key thing. The second being culture and environment. So, and again, the key lines I'm putting at the top here is how decisions get made and how mistakes get handled. So something that we're very clear that we talk about in interview and that kind of thing, and I try and get firms to talk about in interview, is those things. So how do the firm make decisions and how do mistakes get handled? From, speaking on behalf of Plannex, especially in the mistakes get handled, is ownership. Mistakes happen. We know that mistakes happen. We know that none of us get everything right all of the time, but we own our mistakes. We hold our hand up and we say, yeah, it wasn't good enough. I'm sorry. I'm going to do better. And ownership's a real big thing rather than passing blame. And I think if you kind of set these things out, that kind of defines your culture, defines your environment, that openness, the way that you want your team to run just like you. What are the weekly rituals that you have? Do you have, we have things like a 15-minute meeting every Monday morning with the team, and just we get 30-second, 60-second updates from every single person. That big firm versus small team thing, like you split out into pods, how does it work? Just really describe how the firm works, how it operates. Do you have transparency around decisions? Is there transparency in terms of money coming into the business, money going out, all those kind of things? And how do you react under pressure? So, something that we try and bake in at our places, and I stress to people so much, just from a personal experience, really, is if something isn't quite going to plan, if something's upset you, if you're particularly annoyed with something, go to bed, have a sleep. And it's just sleep on every big decision. Sleep on the things that annoy you. Don't react. Don't, go off the rails, all that kind of thing. Have a night's sleep and decide how you're going to deal with it the next day. And it's that kind of mentality, that kind of thing where you can push that across to people within initial applications, within interviews, all this kind of thing. That really sets the tone for the biz that they're going to come into and then deliver on that too. Proposition clarity as pillar 3. And if I'm still amazed by how many people don't think that candidates are really looking into their firms online and going down rabbit holes. And, I know candidates that have, come with almost full reams of chat GPT stuff where they've looked into various stuff and all this. And it's like they've gone all in on the way that we operate and that kind of thing. And they will do the same for you. So what are the kind of things where you can create that clarity, create that confidence, and create a firm where people want to come to you? And I think there's a few things on the screen there that are really going to help out in terms of that. So, first of all, a careers page. There's so few advisor websites with actually a careers page, with a page that shows, okay, what are the types of roles here? What's it look like working here, etc. A team page with a bit of personality always helps, just helps, again, to get across what the culture and environment's like. But also things like team videos. If you're going to go and sit, it always amazes me in terms of, like, let's say you work a 9 to 5 and you work 40 hours a week, then most of your waking hours every week are spent with work colleagues. These are important people that you work alongside if you're sat in an office or whatever else. And like, team videos will bring across that personality. Is this the kind of firm I can see myself being in? Because remember, it's not just about you and hiring the right person, it's about them and finding the right firm, because you don't want people to apply who aren't going to be the right fit, right? So don't be afraid to show your personality. Don't be afraid to get that across to them via things like team videos on the website. Behind the scenes footage, show them the office space, the desks that they're going to work at, all these kind of things. Will just, again, really help set that tone, set it nice and comfortable, put them at ease, put you at ease, etc. And things like podcasts, webinars, socials, all of those things, showing team chemistries, things like the away days that you do, the socials that you have, the client events that you do, all this kind of stuff. And I think that all of those things together builds a really nice picture of, okay, this is the kind of firm I either want to work for or I don't want to work for. And if you do that very, very well, in most cases, it'll be firms that people want to work for. And there are firms that do this very, very well, where they're just not paying recruitment fees or anything like that because people are coming to them. And another thing I'll add into this is getting involved within the profession. It's, contributing to things like Plannex, to other organizations, to getting a column in a magazine, all of those kind of things where you have that visibility, people build up your personality, know who you are. Attracts talent. It does. It absolutely does. Access and reputation is the final pillar. So you want to be found. You don't want to be chasing. Work out where candidates look. So, something that was quite weird from our side of things, we had this kind of like jobs board. We didn't really know that it was much use to people or whatever else until we realized one of our firms, their last 4 hires had come from our jobs board. But also, according to Google, it's the most looked at jobs board within the profession by candidates. So we had no idea. We were kind of sat on this thing and we had no idea. So I'm going to talk about this in a moment in terms of how we're flipping that and how we're going to create something incredible there that's coming very, very soon. That access and reputation, like I said, that awards and event participation. So apply for awards. It's great from a client perspective as well in terms of winning new clients, to be able to see award-winning firms and the like. But people want to work for firms that are winning awards, that are out there, that are on stages, that are successful. Why wouldn't you want to be associated with that? And like I said, get involved from an industry perspective, get involved in webinars, offer to do content, all this kind of thing, and really showcase your people and the way that you run your firm and the things that you do. There are some firms who run an anonymous register, so whereby you can effectively apply for roles anonymously. It may go, for example, to I know one firm who do it where all applications go to the operations director. The operations director takes off anything like in terms of name, age, etc. So that there's a sort of less bias within the process for who they bring forward for interview, which I think is absolutely wonderful idea if you've got a team big enough to be able to do something like that. And all of these things will lead to you having less reliance on recruitment and the like, because effectively people will find you, and they just won't. You just won't need to go and chase people. The firms that do this the best, the majority of their talent comes to them. There are a few firms I work with who've never had to go chasing. The people come to them. So something we're going to be launching in a few weeks' time. So we already have a Plannex jobs board, which is accessible to Plannex business members to be able to post jobs on for free as part of their membership, and candidates can look at it from all over. It's on the Plannex website. You'll be able to see it. We are turning this into something called Plannex Careers, whereby people will be able to sign up from a candidate's perspective on a anonymous basis. So it kind of creates that space where people can have those interactions without feeling the pressure of, perhaps they're in another job at the moment, or this kind of thing. We know we've got eyes on it because, as I said, Google tells us it's the most looked at jobs board within the profession. And you will have the opportunity as business members to use it for free, which is amazing. Otherwise, outside of that, there will be a cost to others, but for business membership, it's absolutely free. The cost, by the way, if you're not a business member at the moment and you want to be with Plannex, this is what business membership involves. It is either £100 plus VAT per month for your firm, or £1,000 plus VAT per year for the firm. What you get for that, there's some bits on the right-hand side there. So you'll get access to Plannex Careers and that talent pool access. You will get, access to RO1 to RO5 in terms of some of the training and study support via the challenge videos that we have. Our AI training series, which are absolutely ridiculous. I mean, there's 24 episodes in there now, and that's taking you from nothing with AI to bona fide expert by the end of it. It's absolutely ridiculous. So good. So many people on that. Absolutely loving it. We're just about to sign off another series as well, which is cool. Leadership peer groups, workshops, business owners, template tools, exclusive discounts, and 10 full Plannex Connect memberships to your team. So i.e., this isn't just for you as a leader, it's for the whole team. So bring the whole team along and give them access to a community whereby they can sort of hang out and find their tribe. The community is already here, of course. And look, like I said, I didn't want to keep you too long today. So if you're not following Plannex on LinkedIn, then just scan that and that'll take you there. Or scan the one that says chat with us if you want to book a meeting to discuss something like business membership or anything further from this webinar, or anything that might help at all. We're always happy to answer questions. We are here. I think that is that from me. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I don't know quite how I do that. I think I've done it. And yeah, that's me. So I'd just like to say a massive thank you for everybody for attending today. And if there's anything at all that you want to discuss, then do let me know. Have me on LinkedIn, anything like that. But I hope that's been helpful. And yeah, we shall speak soon, I'm sure. Bye-bye.